Hey, welcome back, Chicago. So I've been looking forward to this conversation. I'm thrilled to be joined by Heath Armstrong, who went from face down, pants down, to $1.2 million in 3 years. Heath, welcome to the program.
Hey, Shalom. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. It's great to have you on, and you have just a fantastic story that I'd love to spend a couple of minutes talking about, and of course make sure our listeners know how they can learn more about you. Heath, in a very brief nutshell, tell us your story.
So I was, like most people that are confused driving through life and trying to climb through the layers that are put on us by external ads, billboards, social media, whatever you may call it. And I found myself very unhappy working in the construction industry in Eastern Kentucky. I became an alcoholic to the extent to where, yes, like you said on the introduction, on not just one occasion, but several times I woke up face down, one time pants down in the front yard with my car running. And I realized that, man, it was like, I'm going to wither away, right? And if I don't make some changes, what's the point of this life if I have this job that I love and all these things that people say make you happy? What's the point of moving forward if I can't find happiness or bliss? So I started interviewing people around the world who were doing things that I wanted to do, whether they be creative entrepreneurs, travel junkies, et cetera. And I simply started asking them what they were doing and how they were doing it. And I started to notice lots of overlap. And one of the main points being that, you know, life isn't really about finding motivation as much as it is to discover the power that we already have within. And so I've been studying and sort of teaching that principle ever since.
And you have a principle, Heath.
Subjects.
You have a principle that's also the name of your podcast, which, of course, we'll make sure our listeners can find, which is never stop peaking. Never stop peaking. What does that mean to you?
Correct. So we're already motivated beyond our imaginations, but in this world, external beliefs are later upon us to teach us how we should think and what we should do with our lives so much that we forget to make the decisions ourselves. To me, to never stop peaking, it's about not needing any more motivation and being able to consistently move up in alignment with our higher self by listening to our intuition, because it is the most powerful motivation of all. We don't need to be more motivated. We just need to be able to break our habit of hesitation. And if you can break your habit of hesitation, that's how you can get to the point where you never stop peaking.
Very, very interesting. And perhaps one of the most important things that you've done is not just have your own transformation, but you're sharing some of those secrets, obviously, through your podcast and through some of the information that you put out there to hopefully help to transform lives. And so you have, as you say on your website, the world's fastest way to motivate your sweet ass, and you have a domination deck. Let's talk about that and what's in it, and why is it something that small business owners or anybody listening here tonight can benefit from it?
Yeah, correct. So in the ability to move into your higher self, I find this world to be very distracting, and so if we want to move in the right direction, there are so many things out there, whether it be cell phones or televisions or social media, that knock us off of our focus in just a couple seconds. But I've noticed that there's not a lot of things out there that help us refocus or remind us of how magical we actually are, how powerful we actually are in just a couple seconds. So the deck, the premise of that was using a very powerful tool in affirmations, which is one of the 10 areas of also the Sweet Ass Journal, which is another thing that I teach. That really helps us remember or work towards bringing an idea of who we want to become to life in just by repeating it over and over every day. So the deck is a series of affirmations that covers so many different subjects in life, whether you're battling procrastination or fear gremlins, or you're worried about money, or you're insecure when hanging out with your friends. It allows you to work through a system of affirmations in just a couple seconds by just drawing a card or sharing them with family and friends for Pay It Forward. And it reframes your mind to actually believe that these things are true, because by using affirmations, you're subconsciously telling yourself that this is what's actually happening in life, and it manifests. So when you repeat these things over and over again, you'll start to actually make decisions in each moment that move in alignment with those visions and those dreams without even thinking about it. And it's a really fascinating thing, because people have been tagging us from around the world, and we launched it on Kickstarter, and we raised about $10,000 to bring it to life. And it's been such a blast seeing the smiles that come around.
Oh, that's amazing. And Heath, I have time for one more question. Recently, I ran a marathon, and you could have fun Googling and search how to train for a marathon, and people give all these bits of advice and say how to train for a marathon in 6 months or something like that. So my question to you is, with your process, with your method, what is the time frame that people can start to have results in their satisfaction, in their motivation, in sort of getting out of the rut, so they can wake up not face down and pants down, but rather in a better place? What is the time period that your system works in?
I work everything on a 100-day period. Now, if you're running or doing particular things, there are people out there that are much more in a shorter period of time. And I know that the average ability to build a habit is 21 days. But when I interviewed 115 people around the world on what made them happy and successful, I actually came down to a very common overlap that many of these people were doing things in 100 days.
I have to leave it there. I want to make sure our listeners can find you online. What's your website?
It is ragecreate.com and also heatharmstrong.com.
Fantastic. Heath Armstrong, thanks so much for joining us on Get Down to Business. We'll be sure to feature you in the future. Thanks for sharing all your advice and information. We continue on Get Down to Business in just a moment, but Heath Armstrong, thanks again.